It's the weekly PPE with Teshia LeSane.
What is your purpose? What is your passion? What empowers you?
What's up, guys? It's your girl, Teshia LeSane. Yes, and it is time for another weekly PPE. What is your purpose? What is your passion? And what empowers you? Today, I'm excited. I'm always excited. Y'all know I'm excited no matter what's going on in life. I'm going to be excited because guess what? I didn't have to wake up this morning. So I'm even more excited because I have like a super dope guy on the line with me today. And y'all know that I'm always pulling people that can give me energy, can give me all of these great things. Because when you give so much to the world, sometimes you need a little bit back. So anyway, we have, listen, y'all, get ready for it. We have Mr. Mike Street on the line today from 106.5 The Beat. Yes, Mike Street, y'all. And I'm so excited. He's here. Mike, tell everybody hello. Say something to the people.
I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to be on your platform. You know, I'm glad you opened the door for me to stop through today.
Nice. I love that. And I appreciate you. We were able to physically catch up a few weeks ago. You came by for Richmond Black Restaurant Experience, as you said you would, a man of his word. And it's kind of different now seeing people coming out of the pandemic. So like, you know, when you actually are physically seeing people, it seems like it's been even longer than, you know, the normal not seeing people. It's just real different now. So for me, when I see people now, I appreciate that moment because the pandemic had us wondering if we were ever going to get back out, you know?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that while we're right here. Everybody knows that the show is always about the fabric of the man or woman. But since we're talking about the pandemic, Mike, how did the pandemic affect you? Let's just say just you personally. How did that time away from everybody affect you personally?
Well, believe it or not, it wasn't too different from what I normally do. I spend the majority of my time in a room by myself. You know, working. It's not like I work in a room where there's, 20, 30 people. I'm usually in a room by myself when I'm doing my show, when I'm doing production, when I'm answering email. The only part that I missed was occasionally being able to get out and see what's going on in order to talk about it. But that was the same with everybody. There was nothing out, so there was nothing to quote unquote report on anyway.
True.
Other than what are you doing at home, and to find out what you're doing at home, that's just a FaceTime phone call or a Zoom. So it wasn't a lot of change for me in that sense. Personally, it wasn't a lot of change. Professionally, we had to reinvent how we did things. For instance, of course, there were no shows to talk about. There was less news as far as, with people in the house, less things happen.
True.
That's something that most people didn't even realize. Like the news was dominated by inside things. There wasn't as much sports. So when it was sports, it was super reported on. Like there's a game last night. Let me tell you about the game. Even though there was no crowd, let me tell you about the guy at the end of the bench. Look at him. He had on moccasins instead of sneakers. It was, they had to just
find things.
Yeah. So, but one thing that did happen was, a lot of the entertainers, and when I say entertainers, I'm talking about singers, actors, actresses, athletes who weren't in season. They were more available because they weren't doing anything.
True that, yeah.
They couldn't work. Like you couldn't make movies, you couldn't do TV shows. So they were more available. It gave me the opportunity to don't you hate when the spam people call? I hate that. I'm sorry.
Who are they?
Yeah, I actually usually answer it and just play along with them for a while. That's another story. But we had the opportunity to catch up with people that you haven't spoken to in a while. That's how you can tell if somebody really cares about you. If you didn't hear from them during the pandemic, they didn't care about you.
Man, that's true.
At least one good conversation.
You're right.
If you didn't get that, you need to adjust that relationship accordingly.
That is true. Wow. That definitely makes a lot of sense. And wow, just thinking about it, pandemic, even though we're like getting out of it, it was just so long. And I watch a lot of movies and I'm just like, I never imagined that would happen like in our lifetime. And who knows if it's really over, you know?
And the crazy part is it lasted and is lasting 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That 2 years that was the fastest, unless you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That was the fastest 2 years of your life.
You're right. And it was wasted, basically. It felt like it was
Like,
just
and you
wasted.
can't even like in a lot of people's mind that I've spoken to, they were like last year was the pandemic. It's like, no, the year before that.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like, oh gosh, 2 years. Yes.
Wow, that is true. That is so true. Wow. Well, listen, I'm glad that we are seeing, you know, the seeing some light. I feel like we're seeing some light, and like I said, I'm appreciative of you stopping by and all those good things. But everybody knows I like to talk about the fabric of the man. I like to know, how did Mike Street come to be who he is? Where, you know, like, where did it all start? So let's just go back to a 9, 10-year-old Mike. How was a day in the life of you at 9 or 10? Like the good, the bad, the ugly, the sweet, all those good things.
9 or 10. Where was I? I was living in Highland Park.
Okay.
A bike ride away from your restaurant.
Okay.
Not too far from Chicken Box. And no, it was like the neighborhood was one big family.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's door was unlocked. You could go in everybody's house. Everybody's parents looked after everybody's kids.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get away with anything. The neighbor up the street was your brother or sister.
Yeah.
And it was, you know what? It was uber competitive back then. Everybody played sports. Like everybody wanted to see who could ride the bike the fastest. Everybody wanted to win in basketball. Everybody wanted to win in football. Even in school, like, you know, grades were, you know, we were competitive with the grades.
Yes.
It's like, yo, you got a 98 on that test. I got to get that 100.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got to be able to put that paper on top of your paper. And I think that's what it is. It's like that competitive nature in the neighborhood helped craft who I am. Because like I'm the most competitive person. Like people don't know me. I'm very competitive.
Okay.
Like if I played in the Super Bowl and lost on Sunday, I'm in the gym Monday.
Okay.
And I'm talking, I'm gonna get you next year. I swear I'm gonna get you next year. I'm gonna get you in 364 days. The day after that, I'm gonna get you in 363 days. The day after that.
Wow.
I'm just a competitive person.
That's
the
nice.
older I've gotten, I've throttled it down a little bit just because I need to put in certain energies in different places.
Okay.
But that being raised in that environment made me competitive. I did sports. I did, my academics were dope. I went to Richmond public schools, different ones.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the University of Richmond after that.
Nice.
That was my introduction to other cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't know any rich white people. And
Wow.
if I knew any rich people in general, I wasn't aware that they were rich.
Okay.
Like I give you the perfect example, and this will explain it. Here I come, my first week at the University of Richmond, and I needed something from the store. The guy across the hall needed something from the store, but he was busy. And he was like, hey man, if you run to the store for me, I'll pay for what you're getting. All right, cool. And then he threw me the keys to his BMW.
Wow.
I'm like, one, I've never driven a BMW. Two, I've never had anybody outside of a relative say, here, drive my car.
Wow.
And then give me the money to buy all of it. That was just different for me. And, then, picking up on how different cultures operate, combining that with how I like to operate, it helped me be more well-rounded. And figure out how to best maneuver in certain situations. But throughout the entire thing, music was my thing. I was trying to be a DJ in Highland Park. I was at the University of Richmond. I jumped on their radio station there during Black History Month, and it stuck.
Wow.
Like literally, it stuck. It was like, I need to do this.
That's dope. That's dope. So here we got, Black boy living in HP, and you go to University of Richmond. So that's an entire culture shock, right?
Absolutely.
And what I love about it is like how you talk about being competitive and how those things, but the competitiveness was more so, it was against other people, but it was also yourself, because you're always driving and pushing yourself
Absolutely
to be the best. And I see that's something that we lack as young people. Our younger kids lack that now. But what I like about it is just being that kid from HP and saying, oh, I'm going to go to University of Richmond. Like that's competition right there. Like you're pushing yourself to another level.
I have to be honest with you. When it was time to graduate, University of Richmond was not on my list of colleges. It was not. It was a lot of HBCUs. It was UVA.
Okay.
It was Virginia Tech. It was Penn State.
Big schools.
It was like cool football schools.
Okay.
It just so happens that I was offered an opportunity to apply for a scholarship at the University of Richmond. And they were like, we need this tomorrow. I turned it in the next day. A couple days later, they were like, hey, how about we pay for everything?
Wow. Okay.
And I was still like, nah, I want to go to this other school. And then my mom was like, nah, you go into this one that's free. So I was like, okay, that's what it is.
Wow.
Now I agree with her.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's that divine order right there. Like, and you were young then, but as adults, we always get into what we will for ourselves. And then God steps in and said, no, this is what I need for you.
Right.
This is where I need you to be. And clearly you may not have had that opportunity, especially in the HBCU, because we turn up. I went to Union. We turn up, and you may not have ever had the opportunity to be put in a position to even get on radio at that time, And so it's just like how God puts you in these places when you will and want one thing, but God says, no, I have to intervene because this is where I need you. And so today we have Mike Street, thanks to Mom saying, no, you're going to U of R. This is
absolutely. It's the little divergence that changed the entire thing.
Wow.
Like if they didn't come to me on that day with that opportunity, it would have been totally different. Everything would have been different.
And so football would have been the thing. That would have been what you were pursuing.
It would have been football, or it would have been the closest I probably would have gotten is DJing at parties.
Okay. Wow.
The closest, if I've been lucky.
Hey, listen, well, I'm thankful to Mom and for her pushing you. Shout out to all of our strong moms out there that have to lead us and just, steer us in with the best way that they know how. They do the best with what they have. And I don't know about your mom, but my mom didn't go to college. And so for me to have that opportunity, sometimes they have to make a decision blindly and strictly on faith. So listen, I appreciate that story, and I appreciate that for you, it wasn't a HBCU, but it was a white institution that changed your life and really made you, kind of see, first of all, being well-rounded by being around all these different cultures, being introduced to radio, and all the other opportunities that you had there, which I know there had to be a number of them driving a BMW at 18, 19, whatever. like those kinds of things, like that definitely don't happen at HBCUs, for most anyway. So I'm definitely, I like that story is like the flip side of things. You came from HP, but you went to this white institution, and U of R is private. Are they private?
It's private. It's very white. And people are going to think I'm making this up. When I was there, if you took away the athletes, baseball, basketball, football, male or female. If you added up the Black people who didn't play sports, I don't think it was 20.
Oh, goodness.
I
Wow.
don't think it was. Somebody might correct me and say it was 25, but I don't think it was 20.
You said that's as close as it get.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, shout out to U of R, the Spiders, for giving us Mike Street. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate it. So I love the story. I love the story. So everybody saw the Oscars the other night, right? And so we're talking about Black men and where they come from and, you know, the different things that can influence life. And so while we know, you know, the talk is the smack or the slap, but I'm also looking at the trauma that our Black men experience. And so being a Black man, being a father, you know, son, all of those things, a protector. Speaking to trauma, like how has trauma or has trauma even affected you in ways where you may act irrationally or even thought irrationally? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, by definition, trauma is anything, and you can correct me, it's anything outside of what you normally do that pushes you off of your normal path. Mm-hmm. Trauma can be good or lead to good things. Trauma can lead to negative things. True. So if we're defining trauma as that, every day there's some trauma. Then the issue comes in how you deal with it. The issue comes with how it comes at you. Like, you know what I mean?
The triggers, yes.
Yeah. Everybody goes through traumatic situations daily. Your body and when I say your body, I'm talking about physically and mentally, copes with the majority of it without you even realizing it.
That's true.
Whether you compartmentalize it and absorb it, whether you one of those people who have outlets, someone to talk to, you have a hobby, you meditate. Some people are able to dissipate the trauma. But even if you're able to dissipate your trauma, over the course of time, you still have that damage from it continually poking at you. Like if someone just pokes you like this, it doesn't hurt. Tomorrow, it's annoying. A week from now, it hurts. A year from now, you have a hole.
Wow.
And that's how trauma works, regardless of the type of trauma. You deal with it. The first thing you have to do is recognize that it's a trauma that can adversely affect you. Okay. Once you recognize and realize that, then you attack that as best you can. You know, if it's problems in the workplace, if it's problems with, let me just paint a broad stroke. Say if it's a problem with relationships, because that's the majority of of trauma. That relationship eventually needs to be altered before it alters you. Now, if you're cool with the way it alters you, then you just let it keep rolling. Because like I said, some trauma is not bad.
You're right.
But if it's something that if you sit down and you think on it and you feel like it's going to adversely affect you in the long run, the sooner you recognize it, the sooner you start affecting change, the better for you.
Well put. Well put. And this is coming from a Black man, and that's why I wanted to ask that question, because a lot of times our Black men, and I say Black men, and because we're taught that our Black men are not supposed to be in touch with their emotions. You're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to do all of these things. And so I wanted to hear from your perspective, because I'm a mental health counselor, and I see so many times where men are taught to fix your face, stop crying, straighten up, be tough. And they never learn how to express those emotions, deal with trauma, deal with those things. And so then you have those moments where it's a meltdown, right, or it's a crazy outburst. And so that concerns me for my brothers, because it hasn't changed. We haven't changed that narrative. And it's been for years, for hundreds of years where we haven't changed that. and our Black man has been damaged because of that. And so I wanted to hear from you, just because you are in the public eye, you are a person, you are famous for us, RVA, you're famous to us and wherever else you may go. So see, even the dog agree. So,
yeah, I was getting ready to say, she listening.
So, you have to kind of gauge your actions and things like that based on what other people see when they fail to realize you are still a human being with your own stuff. And so,
well, just speaking on that, you're absolutely right. There's no doubt. I don't want to say just men. I want to extend it to
you're right. Yep.
To people in general. You're taught that you have to be tough and you do your personal stuff. You know what? Society sees you a certain way. You realize society sees you a certain way. Anytime that you feel as though you're going to behave or be seen outside of societal norms, you try to mask it.
Yes.
And in masking it, that's this.
Yeah.
That's that poking that just, it compiles over a long period of time. And it's like the older I've gotten, I've stopped caring what other people think. Because and when I say that, I'm always open to getting better. Or taking suggestions, like somebody can say, hey, by the way, and I'll think about it. I'm saying, is that going to take me too far out of my zone that I'm comfortable in, that I've set up, that I feel helps me run optimally?
Okay.
And if it does, okay. I appreciate that though. Thank you for paying attention to me. Thank you for that time. Thank you for the observation. I will keep a mental note of that. And if I find out that that's something that's slowing me up, then boom, I'll implement a change. But it's like you try to mask it in public for a good portion of your life. At least most people do.
Yeah.
Then you come to the most fortunate people come to the realization and come to a place where it's like, you know what? I make the best decisions for me. I know what it is. I know where I want to go, or at least I know how I want to get there. Even if my end goal is vague, I know how I want to travel. I know if I want to walk, I know if I want to run, I know if I want first class, I know if I want to get there dirty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in that process, once you get to that, I guess that's what they call self-awareness.
Okay. Yeah.
Once you get to the self-awareness, everything is different. It's like, okay, I'm mad. I'm not gonna wait till I get home and let that out. If somebody's making me mad, you're making me mad right now.
Communicate it. Yes.
That way I know that if I communicate how I feel to people, if they continue with it after I've communicated how I feel,
yes,
then it's no longer on me. It's on us. You know what I mean? It's like, look, you know what you're doing is really making me angry.
Yeah.
Once I tell you that, then it's okay, you can either stop it or we can continue along this path. But you're not going to be able to say that it came out of nowhere.
That is true. That is true.
And that's where I am now. Like, people call it being blatantly honest. People don't like that. People don't want honesty.
They don't.
Hey, how do I look in this outfit? They don't want, you know what they want? They want reassurance. Most people, when they ask you questions, they're not asking for your opinion.
You're right.
They're asking you to reassure what they want you to, what they're already thinking. Man, I was thinking about going on vacation, but my money is tight. Oh, you're asking me if you should spend the money to go on vacation because you want to go on vacation.
You're right about that.
And that's how a lot of things work. So I'm at the point now where I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm comfortable in letting people know how I feel, at least the people that I know that are receptive to listening to.
Gotcha.
If it's somebody who's not receptive, then you maneuver around them.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
you don't mask it. Like if I don't tell you I'm mad, you're still gonna know I'm mad. Even if it's not a direct I am mad, you're gonna know I'm mad, even if it's
not that face.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
It's not gonna be like, ha, okay, all right, man, you have a good day, brother. Okay. No, It's not that. Mm-mm.
Yeah. And you got to, I like the direct, and I'm the blatantly honest person as well. And people don't like it and they dislike you because you're honest.
Right.
And that's like crazy. That's the truth hurts part.
The cool thing is, at the end of the day, they're gonna know that if they want the truth on that one day that they need to know, is this what it is? They're gonna be like, who can I ask that's gonna give me the unadulterated truth, even if it burns him?
Yep, you're right. You're right about that. That's so crazy though, like, because I'm on that wave myself. Hey, listen, this has been an amazing opportunity to talk. We just like chatting it up, and we didn't even get to talk about our Lakers and all that good stuff because we've like wound down to the end of the interview. Our poor Lakers, man, like that's a whole nother conversation.
But you know what though? They get paid to play sports. They get paid to do what it is that they love. They're competitive. It stings. So hopefully at the end of the season, somebody's gonna say, you know what, in 363 days, I'm gonna get you.
Yes. Yeah, they need that Mike Street mentality for sure, man. Oh my gosh. Hey guys, you're listening to 105.3 The Choice and 106.1 ESPN. It is your girl Teshia LeSane, and we've been chatting it up with Mike Street, 106.5 The Beat. Mike, can you do your little tagline for us one good time?
Oh gosh. It's usually I'll do it just for you, but usually it's like I'm getting out of here. So this is funny. If I think about it, I forget it.
Wow.
We can agree to disagree. We ain't gotta like each other, but God said we should love each other. Till next time, be safe, peace, and as always, love
you. Talk to y'all later. Thank you so much. It's Teshia LeSane with your weekly PPE.
It's the weekly PPE with Teshia LeSane.
What is your purpose? What is your passion? What empowers you?